All right, what's going on, everybody? So the time has come. Cowboy Bebop live action is out, and I'm here with my friend Dre Zero, and we're gonna be talking about the live action series. So first off, I think we gonna go full spoilers for this, or
Yes,
okay, full
yes.
spoilers. So if you haven't seen the show yet, you know, put this in your watch list, and then go watch the show, then come back. But we're gonna be talking full spoilers here, full spoiler discussion. So I'm thinking how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna go ahead, and so I got my notes here on my phone. I'm just gonna kind of be referring to this every so often. But I think the way that we're gonna do this is I'll go ahead and kind of give my dots on the show first. And since you're the resident Cowboy Bebop expert out of the two of us, I'll just let you go off, after I'm done. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I should go ahead and say this. Um, Unlike him, like he's seen the show, he's seen the original anime. What do you say, like several times over, like dozens of times. So like,
About, yeah.
yeah, so like it like that. Me, I've only seen like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, like back in I want to say 2014 or whenever Tanami came back and they started showing Cowboy Bebop. I tuned in for a few episodes because I'm not like one of those people that were able to like watch Cowboy Bebop when it came out because I was too young and I wasn't allowed to watch Adult Swim. So for me, watching it, um, for me personally, I wasn't able to really get into it. It's not that I hated the show or anything, nothing against the show. I just couldn't get into it. So going into this, I didn't really have, I'm not gonna have the same sort of perspective that he has, and many fans have had about this. I've seen like the critical reception online as far as like the critics and everything, and I know the fans aren't satisfied with this. And I'll get your take soon enough. But so going into this, I will say this. Just after like watching this, so I finished this today, and I gotta say, like, I don't even. So as far as like my criticism of the show, I will say this: just overall, I don't think the actors did a bad job. I don't even count like I'm not gonna put the performances on the actors, more so the direction and the writing. Because even someone like Faye, who I didn't like the character. I don't think the actor's bad. Like I don't think any of the actors are bad. I think it's just the direction and the writing. And really, I'll say this because I honestly can say that I think this show, as far like from my perspective, I think that this was a lot better than Death Note, in a sense. And again, some of y'all might feel differently because y'all have the attachment to the series. But for me, outside looking in, I kind of feel like this was way better than Death Note. Like at least, like I'll say this, I like the first episode. I like the penultimate episode, episode 9. I thought that was good. I thought like the first episode and episode 9 were I think the best ones. The opening scene was funny, it has decent action, and the first thing that I noticed about this show is that it's very colorful. It's very cartoonish. It seems like they just like straight up did almost a one-to-one reaction, one-to-one adaptation. Um, Not completely, obviously, because I mean they butchered some stuff, I'm sure, but it's very cartoonish. I'll say, once again, I don't count anything against the actors, but John Cho, like, there's a moment where they show him training. They show him like training, doing his like martial arts in the first episode. I thought he kind of looked a little stiff, but he did look good in the later episodes when he's doing the martial arts and everything. Daniela, what's her name? Daniela Pineda as a Faye. I felt like she was written like a teenage girl that like it almost seemed like she just stepped off of the set of a Disney Channel show, and they gave a reason for that. I mean, she was in cryo sleep and everything, and I'm guessing like the whole rationale behind it is okay. She was in cryo sleep, I guess, when she was like still a young teenager, so like she wasn't able to mature. But I kind of feel like after seeing this whole thing, I kind of feel like what they did with her could have worked for another character, Ed, because I feel like what they did at the end, because Ed does show up at the end. I feel like that totally different. That totally didn't work. It was just way too over the top. I think that they needed to like tone that down. Like that works in a cartoon, that doesn't work here. And even me just not having, not having that same sort of attachment, not really even knowing the characters like that, I could tell that something was off. Like the best way I could put it is like that Netflix stench, that American stench, like it's all over this. You can tell that they did their own thing with the characters and with this whole property for better or worse. Faye, like I feel like Faye, the way that they made her teenage girl, I kind of feel like she would be, because from my understanding, she's supposed to be like this character that uses her sexuality to get, to get by. Like she's like the way that they wrote her, she's a lot more immature than what I would think this character would be. And I bring that up for a reason because they do this whole gay thing in episode 6. I'll get to that in a second. But just kind of going back to a little bit of my notes, kind of looking here. I thought the jazz soundtrack. I thought that was another thing that I thought was really good about the show overall. Like the soundtrack. Cowboy Bebop is what's the word I'm looking for? I guess for lack of a better word, famous for its music. It's very jazz inspired and everything. So I thought the soundtrack was good. Some of the CGI looks decent for a TV show. Let's see here. So obviously you can tell, it's low budget because it's low budget effects. It's not gonna look as good as a feature film. The scene where the ship was landing in Tijuana, I thought that looked good. The guy with no eyes that Spike talks to when he's looking for their bounty target. Uh, that definitely caught me off guard. Like that was kind of creepy looking out. That was cool. Um, and one thing I will say about the first episode, the emotional scenes, I think that worked. I think that's one thing that they did right as far as like that first episode goes. Was that the emotional scenes worked. That moment where the pregnant chick got shot, and then when she threw her life away at the end, I thought that was good. So that like I said, that was a decent episode. I enjoyed it. The second episode was so to me. Um, the characters do a lot of dumb stuff. Like throughout this whole show, I feel like they do a lot of stupid things. Like they'll be like right next to like catching up to their bounty. They'll have them, and then they'll like stop for a second, and then the person just manages to get away. Like they just do a lot of dumb stuff. Spike relaxing. So there's a moment where Spike's about to like fall to his death essentially, and Jet catches him, and Jet is kind of like struggling to like pick him up and everything, and basically Spike, he's hanging upside down, puts his arms behind his head, and I feel like, because here's one criticism that I heard a lot of people say online was that John Cho is too serious as Spike. Spike is supposed to be easygoing, but I think honestly, I think that he had that easygoing nature down. They show him a few times with his headphones on, and he's just walking around casually. And then that moment that I just described there, like I think he nailed that part of it. So like 20 minutes into episode 3, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, this is starting to get stupid. So there's some stuff in that third episode, like when they go to that brothel, that I think it's called Betty's Bottom. That brothel, those scenes with all the weirdos, and like, bro, it is straight up. You can tell, when I say you can tell, that they Americanized this. That you know you can tell that this is a Netflix adaptation here. The fight scene where he's fighting the guy Hakeem, the dude that's like he's able to like change his face and everything. I gotta say that was a cool fight scene. So Vicious, so there was one scene in here where Vicious is being sarcastic with one of his henchmen, and like I said, I've only seen a few episodes of the show, but with this character Vicious, I kind of feel like, knowing nothing about this character, I kind of feel like this character would be a lot more reserved than he is here. Like he wouldn't be like over the top. Like there's a screen. So at the end of the episode, when I almost called him Fearless because that's another thing. They gave Spike a freaking code name. They gave Spike the name of Fearless, which I'm guessing there was a reason. I'm guessing their rationale for like doing that change is like, okay, Vicious can't be his real name, right? But I'm guessing like their whole rationale behind it is like, okay, maybe that was his code name, like Vicious is his code name, and then Spike has his code name or something. I don't know, but that's a weird change there. But when Fearless shoots him at the end, he shoots into his car and everything, and he calls Vicious. Vicious, he has this like over the top scream at the end. I couldn't help but laugh at. I thought the episode 3 was terrible. Episode 4 with the environmental terrorists, they turning people into trees. The effect looked kind of weird, but I mean, what can you do about it? Faye. So we found out in this episode. So this was the, I believe this the Faye focused episode. I think this was where we learned that Faye is a amnesiac. I don't know if that was something that they did in the anime. You can correct me if I'm, or not correct me, but you can tell me about all of that later. But yeah, so like I thought once again, Faye's dialogue is terrible. I left the episode feeling like, okay, once again this is stupid. Episode 5. So with this episode, so with episode 5, focused a lot more on Jet. I know that they, because I was texting you about this, how they essentially, because I didn't know whether or not he had a child in the show, and I'm guessing the reasoning for like giving a Jet a child is just so that um we can kind of be more sympathetic to him, I guess, or be more attached to him, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's like the same reason for why they had that like one character in the Mortal Kombat movie be the main character, because he had like a family and everything, so we can be like rooting for him and everything. But so with this episode, part of the focus of the episode, or like really the main focus of the episode, is with Jet Black. He's so they're going, so at the start of the show, they're showing how him and his old partner, they were going after this criminal, and they were trying to find out, who was this dirty cop. And I thought that stuff was cool. I thought that stuff, like the tone of the show, like sometimes I feel like they get the tone of the show right, but then there are these other times where it just is completely campy, it's cheesy, it's over the top, and it just doesn't work. It's more like almost like a cartoon come to life, and I think those moments, I think in those moments it just doesn't work. Um, the spike and face stuff that was in this, I thought that stuff was whack for the most part. That rock paper scissors scene, that was terrible. There's a scene where Faye's explaining how she's explaining to Spike how she caught a dangerous bounty when she caught this dangerous criminal, and I thought that was horrible. She was like reenacting it with a dog and everything. Uh, and I have here the tone is all over the place. I think we can both agree. Um, so this is one part I don't think if I don't think I told you about this part when I was texting you about it. Where the chick is describing to Vicious, who was the guy's name? The eunuch, uh, one of the guys that's part of the syndicate. So there's a part where like they're showing this flashback of the eunuch, and the guy's like, "You'll never." Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find this quote. Okay, here it is. You'll never know the true power until you tasted the testicles of a man who's wronged you. I'm like, what is this line?
Oh,
And then the whole like his acting there, and then once again, I'm not even putting this on him. I'm putting this on the director and the writing. I'm just, what the heck, man? Like I couldn't help but laugh. Like there's so many times in this show that I was watching it where it's just unintentionally funny, and that's obviously not something that you want to happen with your audience. Is dumb laughing at stuff that's not supposed to be funny. Um, so the Jet stuff with his partner, like I said, it was the best part of this episode. But that reveal at the end where, oh, it's his partner. I saw that coming a mile away. Like his partner said something like, cause Jet is like, well, why'd you do this, man? And he's like, oh man, life and all this other stuff. You never see it coming. And I'm just saying, I'm thinking to myself, man, I saw you coming a mile away. Like this is so cliche. It's so cliche. I was hoping like as soon as he picked up the phone, as soon as he picked up that phone, I'm like, oh, it's him. It's his partner. It was him the whole time. I'm like, this is so cliche. It's like they added this stuff, and you can tell me if this is another thing that they added with him, with like this origin. I guess the origin of his arm and everything, and this stuff with him basically being framed as a dirty cop. Like what the heck? Like I thought that episode was pretty weak. Episode 6. Now this is the infamous episode that you were texting me about. Um, so this is the one where, and I believe the name of the episode was called Binary Two Step, and I like that title alone says a lot. So this is the one where Spike is trapped in a virtual world, and the effects. I'll say this, like it's a cool concept. The stuff that they were doing, where like Spike came into the office, and like how do I describe this? So like the TV screen, the person on the TV screen was directing him and everything, and he sits in that chair, and then like the effects look cool and everything, up until that point, until he gets into the simulation, and then once he gets into that simulation, he gets trapped in this virtual world, and the effects look bad. They look like they kind of look like Photoshop filter effects almost. And what so another thing we obviously got to talk about is the whole thing they do with Faye being gay. I know a lot of people were pissed about this. I know a lot of people were mad at the whole thing that they did with Faye in the first place, with her like not being dressed the way that the character should be, and of course, especially now, not being portrayed the way that the character should be. But the whole thing is that, again, from my understanding and my limited understanding, she's supposed to be somebody who uses her sexuality to get to get by, right? So I'm like, I was thinking about this today. I'm like, if you wanted to do the gay stuff, as much as we don't want it, you could have done it in a way that made sense for the character at least. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I saw like the gay stuff like as soon as she came down there, because so the whole thing. So one of the things in the episode is that the ship needs repairs. So Jet hired a mechanic, and the mechanic is a girl, is a female. And so as soon as Faye sees her, like they are just straight up in love, right? And it was just so obvious to see that coming. Just those two getting together, and it was very cringe, like that scene where they first meet each other. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, I skipped all the gay stuff after that, so I don't know what they said. The last thing that I heard was like, I guess like Faye was a virgin and everything, so that was like her first time. Oh wow. Like they could have skipped all that and then put like all that time that they spent doing that. You could have took and did something else with all that time though. I thought episode 6 was pretty bad, outside of the whole Spike thing, him being in the virtual reality, and it really addresses the fact that he doesn't want to move on from what's her face, the girl's name. I think the girl's name is Julia, the chick that him and Vicious was basically friends with, and got with, and everything. Um, let's see. So we're getting to episode 7. So episode 7. This is the one, okay. So this is the one that focuses on Faye and the woman that pretended to be her mom, who's basically a con artist. And I get the feeling that this is another thing, because like I said, I'm one of those people who hasn't seen the show, but throughout the show, I was seeing things, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't seem like something the writer, not even knowing the writer, I don't think this is something that kind of felt like what can't speak right now. It didn't feel like something that seemed to be in the show. It seemed like something that they added in there. Um, but yeah, this focuses on Faye and the con artist mother. And there's a part where, okay, so there was a funny part in there. It was an alright episode to me. Um, there's a part in there where Jet is looking at his daughter's recital. I thought that was funny. Um, and like while he's doing that, Spike is fighting in the background. I thought that was pretty funny. And there's like little moments in the show. There's like little funny moments in the show that that actually was very entertaining to me. As somebody like obviously not into the show like that, into the original show like that. But I did think that the resolution to Faye's fake mother's conflict with that guy, I should say her husband, Mink. I thought that resolution to that whole conflict with her mother was stupid. It was all just kinky role play. I was like, okay, who the heck wrote this, man? Honestly, if it wasn't for that bad resolution and they were more serious with it, it could have been a good episode. But now that I look back on it, it is kind of weak. But I like that stuff with Jet and his Jet just seeing his daughter's recital. I just kind of thought that was kind of entertaining. Episode 8. So there was a scene in episode 8. Early on. So there was a scene where I think was this the one? I'm trying to think. Was this the one where Fisher sends? Okay, yeah. So this is the one where Fisher sends the assassin to Spike. I'm guessing by that I'm guessing by that groan that means they screwed up royally. So like this, so my first impression of the assassin is just the fact that yeah, he was just like straight up a cartoon. Like when I say they just like literally ripped him out of the cartoon or something, like that's straight up what it was. And then like he had this over the top laughter. Like it was really like with what you were telling me other earlier when you was like texting me and everything, with like this show being hammy, being just over the top and cheesy and everything. Yeah, I definitely agree. The conclusion to the fight where so the conclusion to the fight was Spike and the clown. I thought that was whack. He basically hits the device and then the guy just flies up into the air and then like the bombs drop down and then Spike dodges out the way. I thought that was whack. So episode 9, in my opinion, was the best episode. This is the episode that basically fleshes out Spike and Vicious's Spike Vicious and Julia's backstory. It fleshes their backstory out. It basically centers on Spike and Vicious being a part of the syndicate, and I thought that there was some good stuff in here. So I love the scene where Vicious hits the dude with the car and he starts beating on him. Like I'm thinking, okay, he's definitely living up to his name, right? But when I text you about it, you was like, oh, he's not supposed. You was like, yeah, this is not like this is not right. Like he's not supposed to be like that. But I like the scene.
Mhm.
I personally like the scene, and there was another scene there's another scene later on where and it was a really great scene where Spike goes and he's slaughtering all the Neptune gang. I think that's what they call them, the Neptune gang. He's slaughtering all those people. He basically turned into John Wick. Now I'm not sure if that's how Spike is supposed to be. If he was like that in the anime, but I just thought that was pretty cool. He basically turned into John Wick. Like the whole story, like just looking back on it, as far as like their story goes, it's kind of tragic. It's kind of tragic when you think about it, because it's like, he basically killed all those people and even broke his code of killing a child just to save Vicious, who ends up wanting to kill him anyway. And then, like the thing that got me, man, if they didn't do this, and you can tell me if this is something that wasn't in the anime, but like this, they did the whole cliche thing of the girl, of basically the girl being the thing, what's her name, Julia, like her being the thing that basically tears them apart. And to be honest, to be fair, Spike should have known not to get with her anyway. Like that's your dude's girl, man. Like you don't do that. So he should have definitely known not to do that. So it was kind of his fault. It really was his fault. I mean, he's at fault here, but also Vicious did cross the line. But yeah, I thought that this episode, episode 9, was the best episode, and then episode 10 was bad. I thought the ending was bad. Like I mentioned,
Ah!
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm about to let you talk in a second. But yeah. So the whole thing at the end with like Julia not immediately killing Vicious. After she shot Spike, I thought that was stupid. It's like, yo, you just shot Spike, who did way less to you than Vicious, and then you basically let Vicious live, and he's like, oh well, I'm just gonna come back tomorrow and try to kill you again. I'm like, you should have killed, you should have been done killed him. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, hold up, everything I've heard about this show, unless I'm misunderstanding, Spike dies at the end. But then I was like, how the heck did he? So how the heck did he survive that fall? Like they never even explained it. It's like my man really did turn into John Wick. When you think about it, he turned to John Wick at the end completely. Because that's what happened at the end of John Wick. What was it? John Wick 3. My man fell from a height that should have killed him, and he's walking. He's still alive. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I like overall, I think that for me, I had more. I'll say this for at very least, I I I enjoyed this a lot more than I did the Death Note movie. Do I think this is the best live action anime thing that we've gotten so far? Absolutely not. I think that honestly, Ghost in the Shell. I'm one of those people that like that. Once again, that was another case of me watching something that I don't have a lot of experience watching the original source material because like with Cowboy Bebop, I only seen a few episodes, so I like that. But I think that what's the name of that joint? Battle Alita, Battle Angel Alita. I think that that's still the
Oh
best
yeah,
one
Battle
out
Elite,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that that's still the best one. But I will say this, and this will be my closing thoughts, and I'll give you, and then I'm just gonna let you take it from there. I One thing I will say, I know that everybody online is just gonna be bashing this and everything, and you definitely have a right to. I'm not telling you that you don't. I'm
Mm.
right. I'm kind of right there with you in terms of, or I don't want to say right there with you, but like I can definitely support and kind of see, kind of see it from your perspective because this same studio is gonna be working on One Piece, so this has me scared, right? But I will say, unlike a lot of other projects out there, I can tell that they really did try with this one. They tried. Like they didn't just shove something out there. It's not like Dragon Ball Evolution or like Avatar or anything. They at least gave it a shot. Now they did their own thing with it for better or worse, but that's just how it goes. But for me, like if I had to give this a score, just overall, just to score it, I'll probably give it like a 6 or a 7 or something. And this is just me being somebody who hasn't seen it. So without further ado, go ahead, take it away. Go ahead and bury this thing.
Oh my god. Okay.
This is gonna be
All
good.
right. Okay. I will give them these few positives before I go. I will give them John Cho, Mustafa, and even Danielle to an extent. And Yoko Kano killing it on the soundtrack like she always has done since the series. Anything Cowboy Bebop related with the soundtrack, she's always on it. So it's always been killer. Some of the action scenes were good. And that's as far as I'm going to take it. Now, things have been remixed to try to interlude the individual episodes into a cohesive narrative, and it doesn't work. With Spike's motivation now, I want to know what Spike's motivation is now. Now that Vicious is indisposed at the end of this, and Julia is now the main antagonist, which I can tell you for a fact does not happen in the anime at all. She, I'm gonna spoil for you. Do you mind? Do you actually mind? Like at all?
Honestly, dude, this show is how old? I mean, bro, I don't even
Over
think I'm
20.
gonna like yeah, over 20 years old. I mean, if I get back to it, I get back to it. I mean, honestly, I told you I mean, I mentioned
Yeah. Okay.
earlier. I mentioned earlier the fact that I thought that homeboy was gonna supposed to die. Spike was supposed to die, so I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
you can kind of spoil it for me. Like I
All
already
right.
knew
All right.
about that line about you got to carry that weight or whatever it is. Like I already knew about that line, so and that's another thing. But I'm gonna let you go ahead. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
oh God. Okay. All right. Just Julia goes into hiding in the anime. First off, she goes into hiding after Spike's death, supposed death. Okay. Two, we don't see how Jet and Spike meet up at all. Okay. But he does survive his encounter with Vicious. They do not marry at all. Okay. They don't. When Spike eventually does find Julia in the anime, she gets shot up. He pretty much loses his only remaining thing of like life at that point. He's like, okay, screw it. I know this is gonna be a suicide mission, and by then, Vicious is already taking over the syndicate. All right, he's already the headmaster of the daggone syndicate, and by then, no one's calling him a pussy either. No one's out here calling this man a pussy nonstop. That got on my nerves. God, like, oh God, this. He was too heavy. For the love of God, they miscast the hell out of this man. I don't know what happened here. Like every time this dude was cheesing and whatnot, I'm like, stop, stop. For the love of God, stop. It's just this is supposed to be this calculating evil character. Honestly, out of the whole anime, he's the most anime thing in the entire anime. Yet he plays it so well, and he has a daggone Deathbird with him. With no burn either. They didn't give him his bird in this either.
I mean, they might as well have done that, considering everything else they did.
Oh God! And by then, after Spike pretty much takes on the syndicate by himself, both times, every time this man shows up to take on Vicious, the first time the first time in the anime, I think they met like I forget which episode, but it basically was early on enough to establish like, hey, this is going to be a plot line throughout the entire anime. They meet up 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times Spike is on his own doing this, and by the last time, he basically takes out the syndicate by himself, no help from anybody, and they pretty much do the death blow to both sides. Then thus killing Spike. However, I'm saying this right now, nothing can replace the anime. I am just gobsmacked at how this version was weirdly put together. All overall. Now, out of morbid curiosity, I'm wondering just if there is a season 2, right? If this does well enough to do a season 2, after all the bashing that has gotten, after like loyalists and whatnot, and even me, because I bashed on this thing, I will bash on this thing nonstop, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the positives, even with the few minuscule positives that I've been able to give, I hope they fleshed out the world building and more threads are hinted. The crew is absolutely in shambles and at bad terms. Because, yeah, Spike's alive and he pretty much like goes to Jet to like, hey man, I'm sorry. Yeah, next time I see your ass, I'm killing you. Like flat out. It's like, okay, really? Your daughter hates you? That's where we're going with this? Really? Mr. Partner, Mr. Big Get Bad, are you serious? You've been pretty much this dude's like actual tag team partner throughout this entire thing, and now you're saying like, oh,
so
F you, really now? Okay. Okay. We're just gonna do this now. Okay, all right. It's bad.
So can I?
It's bad, but I want to see what these fools will do with the season 2, especially now that Ed's involved, and Ed and Ian are back now because they left Ein on Earth, I believe. I'm like, they left the dog. They left Ein. Why did they leave Ein? Like, what the fuck did you leave Ein for?
So can I ask you a question right quick? I'm not trying to cut you off, but it was something I was wondering. So I noticed there's like this back and forth between Spike and Jet. Is it like that in the anime at all?
Almost just about they get on each other's nerves and stuff like that, but it's a lot more the banner is kind of the same, but not like that.
Okay, because you were telling me earlier when I was mentioning Oh well, I don't even think it was today. I think it might have been yesterday. But
That's even a plus I'll give them for this too. Like the banter between the two between those two are actually pretty good. I'll even give them that.
okay. But I was wondering because you were telling me how I think there was like a moment where like Spike gave Faye a hug, and you was like, no, that doesn't. No, that would not happen in the anime. So
No,
that's why I was
no,
wondering.
no. The banter between Jet and Spike, yeah, yeah. The banter between them is good. With honestly, Spike and Jet like bury Faye every chance they get. Like it, because
Okay.
they know how much of a lazy ass that she is. That she steals from them, she lies to them, and they still leave the door open, which is something I will never understand. Even what the anime does, it's just like if someone keeps robbing me, I'm locking the doors. I'm changing the locks. I don't know you. Even if this is something in the anime that I can't ever forgive. Faye, I'll tell you right now, Faye annoys me in the anime. But she annoys the piss out of me here way more.
But
It's so
but I think it's just two different types of annoying. I think it's like two different types.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think like without even knowing anything about the character, I think I know where you're coming from because once again, it's like she's written like a little child, right? She's written like she's
Oh no, yeah.
almost like she stepped off of a different show. Because like what I was bringing up with like the shows like the show the tone being out of whack. Like I can definitely kind of get your perspective without without knowing too much.
It's a it's insane. I mean, it's like oh my god, she acts like Dee from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to me. Like the first clip that they like put out there, like I think it was Thursday, last Thursday, and I'm like, they really turned her into Dee from It's Always Sunny. It's terrible, like absolutely terrible. And this it's no. It definitely is a different kind of annoyance because in the show, in the anime, it's just like, yeah, you're a scumbag. You basically are a scumbag, and these idiots still let you in here. But by the end, it's just like I kind of still feel sympathetic toward her because she does have nothing left. She has nothing to go back to, and the Bebop is really all that she has left, at least in the anime. This she finds out a lead and it pisses off. So okay,
So
like whatever.
okay, so last question, and I'll let you get back to it.
Uh,
Last question.
uh,
That stuff with like her like being amnesiac. I always have a
yeah,
hard time saying that word.
amnesia, yeah,
Yeah. That stuff was that in the anime. You know.
yeah,
Any of that? Okay.
yeah.
Cause I was
Basically,
wondering, cause like some of the stuff I could tell that they definitely changed. That it's like it seems like more American style of writing. Like even the way that they have like the Jet, Spike, and her. Like it seemed like they almost wanted to write them as like a pseudo family kind of coming together almost. Did you kind of get that vibe from it?
I mean, yeah, to an extent, it was more like uh more dysfunctional family in this version than it was in the anime. At least it was kind of
Okay.
like an unspoken thing within the anime. In this, it's just like, yeah, they really are trying to push this.
Okay. Okay, that was my last
Yeah,
question. Go ahead.
basically with Faye, it's just like someone like the dude who pretty much helped her get on her feet when she was like out of cryo sleep and stuff like that. Like helped her and basically like dipped on her and just left her with a bunch of like debt with his debt and everything else. She got a hold of all that, and then basically she's been lying and cheating her way like through everything that she possibly could. So that's why she really doesn't trust the people in the anime. And
Okay.
they didn't even touch on that. Like, at all, there's a reason of how she is. It's more fleshed out in the anime than it is here.
Yeah, and see that goes back to what I said about episode 6 that gay stuff. I'm like you could have used that time doing doing something else.
Yeah, but no, let's just. God, I'm into that. Oh
But
God.
go
Yeah,
ahead, man. I know you got a lot more to say.
let's make a gay. Let's just make it gay. Let's just suit the audience. I don't care who I piss off with this one. Let's just make it gay. Let's just use a freaking stupid archetype that just like, oh, let's just take this. Let's take this character, this established character that everyone knows, just make it gay, because Netflix, because it just has to be Netflix. Um, God, okay. What do I have in my nose? Let's go down the list, shall we? Um, episode one, Cowboy Gospel. Yeah, Spike and Jess Banner was the best thing aside from Yoko Kanno being a soundtrack duty. Spike afraid going back to Tijuana, new Tijuana. Spike is afraid of going back somewhere in all caps. Now, let me get this out right now. When he said that, like, Spike is basically the dude who has the devil may care attitude. Basically, he'll do practically whatever he wants, like whenever, and never like show fear. So seeing this, I'm like, ew, ew, ew. He's afraid of getting stabbed. You are not Spike. Get out of here, you imposter. Okay, and add to this, Faye appears in the first episode to bring Carolina Montgomery? Question marks. Faye's the worst thing about this entire show. Netflix really made their faith to Dean Reynolds from his dog. He's the first thing I talk about. A random syndicate agent manages to tell Vicious that a bounty hunter ruined the capture of Asimov. Vicious and Joya in the first episode. What the fuck? Spike talks about his past to Carolina, that she should wake up if she wants a future. Yeah, okay, yeah, the Asimov stuff is legit. That's actually the first thing that they do in the anime. So
Yeah,
that's
I think I kind of remember that.
Faye showing up in the first episode? Nah. Both Vicious and Julia? Nah. Just no. No. Just yeah, God, they kill Vicious for me. They kill Vicious and Julia for me. Like, oh my God, I can't stand these versions. Like, it is one thing I despise is these two. It's just these two versions. It's like, like, why they mad? Oh wait, that's second episode. That's second episode. Basically, the Asmo stuff is pretty much spot on. Pretty much, I'll give them that. Just the red eye stuff and everything else. It pretty much makes you rage and all that. Like, I'll give you that. In execution in live action, it actually looks okay.
Yeah, I knew about
But I'm
that
not
stuff.
gonna.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm not gonna completely destroy this like I want to, because there are things that I actually did like to a degree. I would have liked a little more of a more bell peppers and beef reference. I mean, yeah, we got one, but it's just like, really? It's like no more. It's like they weren't even having like that many money troubles either throughout the series too. And that was like the whole, like, that's the thing about Watanabe's like whole work. It's just like all of his characters, no matter what series it is, it's always like they're struggling for money. In Bebop, Champ Blue, Dandy, no matter what it is, the characters are always broke. And he consulted this, and I didn't feel like they were broke in this version.
I
To be
mean, they
honest,
kept. I mean, they kept talking about. I mean, they kept talking about money all the time. I honestly don't agree with you. Like, so like the only thing. So okay. Well, hold on, cause
I mean,
Jet.
I mean,
Cause Jet, see
okay,
the thing is,
did.
Jet kept talking about wanting to get this doll for his child at first, and like that kind of went nowhere. But yeah, they did talk about their money troubles, I believe. Yeah, I think they
Okay, yeah,
did,
my
man.
ass. Okay, yeah, they did. They did, but it just like it always it was almost every episode.
I mean, because
Almost like
every time they talk about taking a new bounty, they're just like, oh, because sometimes they'll be like, oh man, for that little pay, or they'll be like, oh man, we could get this much money, but they're always talking about like the risk involved. So yeah, I don't. Nah, I think they got it.
all right, fine. fine. Like they
I
just
look if that's look listen if that's how you feel because you seen the show, so I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was almost every episode. It was almost every episode, and even they did like a few like out of kind of out of nowhere episodes of the anime. But at least it's just like they're almost broke out every episode.
pretty much.
You can go
But
on. You
anyway,
can keep going.
anyway, episode 2, Venus Pop, aka the Teddy Bomb episode. I'm glad Big Shot Show was still in this. I'm actually glad
That the Bounty Hunter show was still in here.
I didn't think that would actually make it
That
in.
yeah, that was one thing. I was like
Um,
that's a little cheesy, but I guess that's just how it's supposed to be.
that's in the show.
Yeah,
That's
I
actually
know,
in the
I know.
show.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I believe I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's just
Spike
certain things
fights
I've seen.
one. Spike fights.
A syndicate assassin in the bathroom, which was nice. Jet gets dropped by the Teddy Bomber in the first episode. Are you in the beginning episode? Are you fucking kidding me?
Okay. What's the fourth thing I know here? Gren in the second episode. Okay, you're not gonna believe this, but Gren actually had like some story with Vicious in the anime. They didn't just they just made him work with the nightclub and Anna in this show, and I'm just like, okay.
You talking about
They were
you talking about the I think that was a dude. The dude.
yeah him.
Yeah, cause like the whole time I was looking. That's another
Right,
thing
yeah.
that freaking club. I was like, yo, is that like what are you like, yo? What? Oh, yeah. So that was another thing I was wondering if that was an actual character from the show. Okay, so
Yeah, but not. It wasn't like this, like so, like on the nose of, hey, yay. I'm not like really, like it was so on on the nose with it in this.
it wasn't out in
compared
the
to,
open
like,
that he was gay or anything like that.
no, in the anime, it was not like this at all. And
Of course,
surprisingly, in
of
the
course,
anime,
Netflix.
they were war buddies actually. And Vicious and Gren actually were war buddies in the anime, and like Gren actually goes to confront him and actually pays for it. But yeah, there's a whole story and background with these two
That they didn't even like discuss at all, and they're just like, okay, whatever. That's another plot line thrown out. Whatever, fine. Um,
Anna or
Anastasia in this version is nightclub owner rather than a convenience store owner in the anime. Yeah.
uh what else do I have here? Julia is married to Vicious. No, God, no, a million times no.
Step seven. Spike's real name is Fearless? Question mark.
Question marks.
Fearless.
That killed me. It's Spike's unhealthy obsession with noodles in this version. Yeah, he wasn't like this, like an ape for noodles in the anime. Like he wasn't like, and the Teddy Bomber wasn't like until like so far in the anime almost. It was like almost like the few episodes left that they had that the Teddy Bomber came in, and it was like they were going down his he was trying to explain his reasons for why he was doing it, and then like Spike had like a rivalry with another bounty hunter. They didn't even bring him up, so
Yeah, cause that.
okay.
So one thing I was wondering, did they do like how many villains did they actually miss? Cause the whole time I was thinking as I was watching the episodes, I'm like, yo, cause sometimes it seemed like they were just kind of wasting time with some new material, or some stuff that I thought might have been new material. But I was like, okay, all this time you're spending doing this thing over here, you could be doing something else.
Mm-hmm. Like fleshing stuff out over like elsewhere. So yeah, it's a mess. But yeah, it was like a whole like thing.
With another bounty hunter stuff. They didn't even touch on that, and I'm kind of miffed about that because like, oh god, it was funny. It was a funny episode. Like thinking back on it. But yeah, they didn't touch on it, so whatever.
I only have a few notes for episode 3. Dog Star Swing, aka the Hakeem and Iron episode. Hakeem is supposed to tower over people like a basketball player. His whole thing is like he's a reference to like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's it.
I figured.
Like
I figured.
yeah. Yeah, so he's supposed to be like this tall, lank dude, and they didn't even do that. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
well, how tall was the dude in the show? I mean, they
He
probably would.
towers over Spike in the anime. He towers over. He's like a daggone tall basketball
He's not
player.
like a giant or anything. He's just saying like he's like real
Nah,
tall.
this is
Oh,
like a
okay.
tall, lanky basketball player who can actually fight.
Yeah.
So,
Should
and
have
the
got
reason
somebody
he
tall.
steals iron, yeah, and the reason he steals iron in the anime is because it's just like, what was the
Nah,
reason?
I know I saw an episode with the dog in there. I can't remember it very well like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I won't. It's a different reason. It's a different reason in the anime compared to like what they did with this one. Not to like steal a bunch of dogs
From the rich folk and then kill them, but then ends up falling in love with them and then get shot. Like I'm like, what did y'all do?
I'm like, what did y'all do? No, no.
No. And Ayn is supposed to be this smart dog, which we do kind of get hinted at like later on with the LeFou episode, but I'll get into that in a minute too, because it's just like the way they did this is kind of awful.
It is awful. Oh man. And then we get more context to like, was it this episode that was this episode that that Spike kind of like snipes at Vicious?
Which one are you talking about?
Episode 3, was it episode 3?
Let me see here. Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
it's like the dude taunts him, and then he just like real. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then the whole it's just like, oh my god, this ham needs to die. Stop. Vicious would not act like this. I will send you what this man's supposed to act like.
Like,
And
dude,
again,
after I watched, well, you already know. Like, after I watched that, I was cracking up so much, and I was like, bro, I'm going to sleep. I'm
yeah.
going to sleep because it was late.
And
I
I
was
was
like,
like, I don't
okay, I'm
blame you.
done.
And yeah, and that's how I joined the group, joins the Bebop, and yeah, basically. So episode 4, Callisto Soul, aka Faye's backstory. The Faye's dialogue is horrid. The ego terrorists take Faye's info and ship. Faye attempts to sacrifice herself to save Callisto. Faye joins the crew. I didn't even like try with these notes. I'm like, okay, like I because Faye got most of the dialogue. I'm like, Spike, could you please just shoot her in the limb, please? She just needs one leg. She needs one leg to move, man. Just please.
Well, he said he
Just
just wanted to kill her just a little bit.
yeah, I mean, really, it's just like the animosity is just like I'm like, can you just shoot her once? Just pop her once. Just, oh, preferably in the mouth, please. I don't want to hear this anymore. Her dialogue is absolute trash. Like there was one episode I'm like, whenever Faye's on screen, and whenever she gets dialogue, I'm like, I want to expire. I want to expire. Like just awful. But yeah, this one moment where she's just like, it's funny because the eco terrorists, like, what was it? Is it the eco terrorist episode? No, no, they meet each other. They meet way earlier, and it was funny because it was actually a casino episode too. And a whole damn casino episode involving this chip and all that, and then it's just like, oh, they just did this in the first episode and didn't even do anything with it. Okay,
Yeah, because they
and
did that casino part in the first episode, right?
oh yeah. You think y'all slick while calling it Watanabes? Y'all think y'all slick with
Oh
that,
my
right? I
god!
noticed that immediately when I turned it on. I'm like, really naming it after the creator, huh? Okay.
I just wonder how he feels about all of this.
He consulted this. They keep saying like consulted Shinshiro Watanabe. Like you gave a green light to this shit. You don't care.
Man,
if this is sick. If this is a sick attempt to get everyone to look at the anime, Mitch succeeded. Because my god, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, I wouldn't even be surprised if he actually did that just for that. So, anyway. Episode 5, Dark Side Tango, aka Jet's backstory. Spike and Faye pretty much have a competition to see who's done more in bounty hunting, while Jet works with his old partner to take down the man who ruined his life. Yeah, I kind of like called it just like you did, even in the anime. So I already knew what was coming. Even in the anime, it was kind of obvious, like who like kind of ruined him. But then these two idiots are like having their tit for tat about, oh, I bagged this guy. See this guy right here? I got it from such and such. Oh, see this guy? Oh, see this guy? I got it from such and such. And then the whole shower bath shower
Oh
garbage.
yeah, I almost forgot about
It's
that.
I'm thinking to myself, my mom would whoop anyone's ass who would use water like this. She would be out on the daggone street if she pulled this shit. It's just like, why is the water bill so high? I don't know. Ask our guest. Ask our guest. I don't know. It was fine before someone showed up in here. You might want to take it up with her. And then just like Spike respecting her for something like that, and taking this big bounty. And, like, Spike is criticized for always working with Jet and how they've been doing things up to this point, and I'm just like, yeah, anime Spike wouldn't give a shit what she has to say. He wouldn't even give it the time of day at this point. Why are you doing this? Why are we entertaining this? Why are you doing this to me? Why do we
So
suffer?
so I have a theory as to why they did certain things with
Mm-hmm.
With Faye and Julia, but I'ma save it. I'ma save it.
Okay. All right. Next, I don't have nothing else for this one. Like, I always like the noir when Cowboy Bebop always goes noir on us, and this is no different. So for this, when Jet even got his crime suit on and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I actually like that and everything. So yeah, nothing too bad about this. It's just like it was kind of predictable, but again, like I already knew it was coming, and the whole Jet and Faye B plot is kind of like I could just leave it, just leave this off leave this off the table, have them actually, I don't know, collect a bounty while Jet's on doing something. I mean, it could have had like someone else from the anime in this while like Jet's doing his thing, but whatever. Episode 6, Binary Two Step, aka Spike and the Animus. One thing that I just saw yeah, I just said like, what the heck is this thing called again? I'm like, okay, let's screw it. I'm calling it the Animus. I don't care. Jet. Wait. What? Blah. Faye's gay apparently. Dot dot dot. She sleeps with the mechanic. What the is going on? Why is this a thing? Spike is just funny with letting go of Julia in the machine. It's like he tries nothing different. I would think like, but if Spike knew what was going on, like the second time he would be like, okay, yeah, you're not Julia. I'm getting out of this, whatever this is. He would try something different rather than just, I don't know, play into it. So it was kind of weird for this, but
Well, it's like playing, like it was like playing on his emotion
on
essentially.
emotions, I know. I know he's always been weak for Julia, even in the anime. So it's just like, okay, fine. Fine. I'm like, whatever, fine, God. And then like, just just the whole yo, what was the daggone name? Mel. The daggone mechanic's name is Mel and all that. I'm like, fine,
Mel.
fine. I'm like, really? Okay, belt buckle said Mel.
Oh my god. I noticed all that. You still with me?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, okay. He's stepping out for a second. But
Okay.
okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay. Just on that news or something. Anyway, yeah, her name was friggin' Mel. I'm like, okay, this is either gonna go two ways.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna smash Jet off screen, or this is gonna lead into what I think it's gonna lead. And when Faye came down them daggone stairs, I'm like, oh Jesus, help me that I should do this. I like breathed in like, Oh, they're gonna do this. Why are they gonna do this? Why are you doing
I
this?
just
And
had
then
to
it's
hit
just
that fast forward button with the quickness, man.
I just had my daggone laptop in my face. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I don't care.
Did I miss any
That's
important dialogue? That's all I need to
nah.
know.
It's just nah. You didn't miss anything really. Like anything of
Okay.
importance. No.
Like I said, the
Okay.
only thing I
Speaking.
know she was a virgin before. That's all I know.
Yeah. Okay. It's episode 7. It's another Faye episode. Galileo Hustle. AKA Face Pass. Fakes the tape containing a past. Her fake mom pretty much like runs the crew ragged and all that just so she can get the her med like the kit that contains like her past and all that, and then to find out like her fake mom and her fake pops are like doing this whole like thing like
Role
and like
playing,
the role play. I'm just thinking
role
to myself,
playing.
this. I'm like, Jesus, help me! What is
It's
why? I'm like thinking to myself, like, oh, okay, she got her shit. Okay, one, she got the okay. One, she got the daggone tape. Two, she got this is how she gets her ship in this version. All right, fine. We shouldn't have to have gone through any of this for that. 40 minutes.
I take
Why?
I take it that wasn't in the anime. The
no,
strange
no, no,
role play.
no. She automatically had her ship. She automatically had her ship, and the way she even finds out about her past, just like, um. she receives the daggone tape in the mail, and then Jet and Spike go out of their way to go back to Earth to find a VCR for the daggone thing. So they have their own little plot line while she's like trying to confront like, oh no, they're after me. No, I'm gonna take all your money and just run. And then they're just like, oh yeah, you ain't welcome back here anymore. it's like it's like this was handled so poorly. Like, like, God, and they get the one VCR and they're like, oh my God. And Ed is already with them at this point. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that they did, like, different, like I said earlier. Episode 7, Sad Clown a Go Go, aka Mad Period episode. Okay, wow, I went off to this in my notes here. Vicious recruits the food of Kill Spike. What the? Okay. Um, Mao is related to Vicious in this version. Why? Again, not something that isn't it. Dude, you're right. You said me?
No. I'm good. I'm just letting you speak. I'm just letting you
Okay.
speak.
Okay. Yeah, Mao's related to Vicious, which is not a thing in the anime at all. Like Mao gets killed off like way earlier in the anime. Like kind of establishing Vicious like his takeover almost. But yeah, they're related, and then there's a whole like thing between them and like oh the whole boy you call me boy and all that. I don't like that and everything. It's just like everyone's calling Vicious like a punk for it. It's just like you are no man, you ain't no man. You a daggone cow. I'm just like, you know what, you know what. The actual Vicious would literally like slice your daggone eyes for that shit. Like for even thinking about something like that, he would just go after you. He wouldn't care. What is this version? I'm like, oh my God, everyone calling this man a punk. What is happening? Everyone calling this man a punk. I hated this so much. I hated this so
so
much.
so from what I gather, from just listening to you talk and everything,
Uh,
this kind of sounds like with what the situation was with L in a Death Note,
yep.
where they had L waving a gun around and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, let me just talk about Matt like LeFou for a second here.
Go ahead.
Okay, LeFou is basically I want to say almost the same, but he isn't like in his in the place where he was stuck in immediately. He basically kills the scientists, the guards, everything. He's already on the loose. There is no vicious recruiting LeFou like
Okay.
at all. There is none
Okay.
of that. So this version sucks already. And then like
so was
having
none
a
of that stuff
civil
with like so there was none of that stuff with him like being afraid of dogs or whatever.
uh, God, no, God, no.
Yeah, that stuff. I was like, what? This is weird. It's so like they had him connected to the
The main
dogs
thing,
and
him being basic. There's a whole like thing behind this though. It's because like he was experimenting on like as a kid and all that, and basically didn't like experience pain back then. Like that's kind of the same actually. So when he like he's actually injured, he actually like breaks down and just like, "Mommy, it hurts!" Ah, that's basically almost the same.
oh, okay.
And there's a whole
Cause
story
I was
surrounding that.
wondering about that. I was like, what? What is
No,
going
yeah,
on?
they
Cause
don't touch on
he's
they don't
being
touch
all
on it in this at
yeah.
all. And so it's like, okay, y'all didn't even say
Yeah,
anything to
cause
this.
like
So, all right,
like if you're a fan, like you're like, oh, they did that thing, and then me,
they
I'm
did
just
that,
like,
but they didn't.
what the heck is going on?
I'm like, they did it, but they didn't tell him why they did it. And then it's like, okay, uh,
And Spike pretty much using the Captain Kangaroo code on the Bebop is like,
huh? It's like because Spike kind of accepts help whenever he like. He's like, whatever, fine, just to help me out. Like, Faye actually does help him in the anime. He doesn't fry the Bebop. I would be pissed if this man like literally leaves me.
You good? You cut out.
Hey, would you do that?
Okay.
Cause like I was like, okay, Jet's not even gonna ring him a new asshole for this one. Why? Like, okay, like next episode, no repercussions. I'm like, oh, they're doing a flashback. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, we on episode 9 already.
No. Let me get this. One more thing. Two more things actually.
Okay.
LeFou does not use Ein as a means to contact the Bebop. So this whole new thing of him like knowing technology and knowing how to hack into Ein and all that, that was like, why would you do that? Why? Why would you do any of that? No, that's so stupid. And then this is when they leave Ein, by the way. So I'm like,
Yeah, I was definitely wondering if that was supposed to be canon or
the,
not. If that was in the original.
that wasn't they. The original thing was basically like Ed and Ein leave. They leave on their own. Ein leaves with Ed in the anime.
Oh, so that's
So
that's why we see Ed and Ein at the end.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
and those two leaving is kind of like the end of like the Bebop crew's like innocence kind of leaving. It's just like, oh well, fun and games over that. Because after that, it's just like all shit just goes haywire. Like after they leave the next episode in the anime, and it was just like kind of like the last like 2 episodes. So yeah, there's a whole plot line with that. But yeah, they didn't even like do with this obviously.
So one thing I
But
wanted to ask, so did they really miss out on a lot by like not having Ed in there?
kinda, because
Okay.
Ed actually does assist them and like in bounties with her hacking skills. Yeah, so
Like I said,
there's actually
I
like
feel like the character could have worked if they just would have did what they did with Faye with that character, and then just have Faye act like Faye from the anime.
yeah, basically. So yeah, LeFou kind of the same, but kind of not. And then the whole like this is a whole thing. This is a whole daggone thing.
Okay.
Okay, episode 9, Blue Crow Waltz, aka Spike and Vicious's backstory episode question mark. Episode starts with Spike and Vicious having a conversation about ball shaming. I want to put my face through a fucking wall. Verbatim, this is what I wrote.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me, what?
I'm like, why? Why?
This man, hey, Vicious uses Manscaped.
I'm like, y'all really
Vicious uses Manscaped.
about Manscaped right now on a job, no less? And
Oh
why
my
is this a backstory episode? Unneeded. Like, flat out say backstory,
Oh.
Spike and Vicious, unneeded. That's all I wrote. That's literally all my notes. And then the whole, like, Okay, basically how they did this is like they basically talk about like how like Spike and Vicious had the falling out and all that. Like, it, okay, let me, basically the backstory between Julia, Spike, and Vicious was talk like this. We get flashbacks to what happened, but it wasn't like full on like, oh they fucking, oh they fucking, oh they fucking, oh they fucking. It wasn't like that, and then like Spike takes the fall for Vicious and all that. No, it was just basically like Vicious found out about this, he was about to kill Julia if it didn't have it was about to kill Julia automatically if it didn't have if you know if she didn't stop seeing Spike, and then he basically ambushes Spike. Spike dies, quote unquote. Julia runs off, and then that's how it is. It wasn't no Julia gets with the man who kills your new lover. So basically, Spike is basically a dog in both versions. Yeah, he ain't a good guy at all. When it comes to this, you don't sleep with your man's girl. You don't sleep with your man's girl. Flat out. All right.
Yeah, like I said, he was in the wrong. But so all that whole John Wick section, that was just all
unneeded.
new.
Yep, unneeded.
I don't care. I liked it.
And I'm like, I'm indifferent. I'm like, okay. I'm like, at this point, let the pain stop. Let the pain stop. Fine, whatever. Fine. We get more backstory to this whole thing, but it's like, okay, fine. All right, episode 10, Supernova Symphony, aka final episode. Hallelujah. They actually.
I thought this thing was too long. Just being honest. No. I was saying. I kind of felt like this show was 10 episodes. Like 10 episodes could have been too long. For what they gave us,
they could have had like 7 episodes to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to put that out there.
No, I know. And basically, the Battle of Fallen Angels episode. Basically, this is supposed to be the first time where Spike and Vicious meet up since the death of Spike in the anime, and this episode happens way early on. And it does have kidnapping, the kidnapping of Faye. It does no kidnapping of Jet's supposed daughter, which I have not touched on. And reason is because the daughter was unnecessary, because the daughter was at very much a plot line for Vicious to take in this episode. That's the only reason why he has a daughter. Why did you do this? God.
Like the daughter didn't add really much of anything outside of like again that one scene that I was very much entertained by. Yeah. Like the stuff with the doll was stupid, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
It's like really so the daughter exists. Kimmy only exists as a catalyst for her to be stolen by Vicious in the last episode. I'm like, this is why you did this. All right, you think y'all slick with this one?
You know what? Right. You know what they could have done, and this may have like still pissed people off. They could have just made Ed like his child if they were gonna have a child character. So at least you have a.
Okay, I like that idea. I'm not hating that idea.
I mean, if you gonna have a character like that, I mean, that way you can still have Ed. You can use Ed sparingly, and Ed can even somehow still help them out, but it would just be at home.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not hating that idea. Okay, let me see what I have here. Okay, I only have four bullet points. Vicious is an abusive asshole to Julia at this point. Okay, I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. Vicious keeps getting told he ain't no man. Vicious kidnaps Kimmy as a means of getting the Spike. ... Julia heel turns on everyone on wanting the throne of the syndicate. Why?
I told you I have a theory about that, and you probably already know.
Okay.
You probably already know.
Let me cut through this real quick. Let me do this real quick. Again, I've already told you that, and people, if y'all still listening to this, Julia's pretty much been on the run at this point in the anime. There is no Julia marrying Vicious, so this whole stupid plot line is like, are you kidding me? Like, all right, like. Julia just all of a sudden, because she's been afraid of Vicious for so long, she automatically just like, oh, let me just, now that the elders are dead and you're on the floor bleeding over there, let me Let me take the throne for myself. Oh wait, Spike, you're here. Why didn't you come for me? Because I didn't want to put you in danger, but you left me with Vicious. And that's any better? I'm like, you, all right, all right. You at least had the stones to get away from his ass in the anime. What was your excuse here? Like what? It's like
So
you
is
have
she the one that shoots him out the window in the anime?
no,
Okay. So that just
no.
confirms everything that I was thinking. Okay.
No, basically, Vicious and Spike pretty much have the duel, right? Basically, the same thing happens, except Spike pretty much loads a grenade. Vicious pushes him out the window. Spike throws the daggone grenade in the church as he's about to fall, and then as he falls, this church blows up, and Spike pretty much accepts death at that point. This version, John Cho is just like, oh, help me, help me, help me, help me. I'm like, okay, y'all missed the entire point of this entire scene. This can die at all. This can die in the biggest hole ever. I'm like, at this point in the anime, and this is early on, no less, Spike pretty much accepts death whenever. Because Julia is basically his reason for living at this point. He basically had one eye in the past, and I don't even think they even touched on the eye thing. Basically, he lost one of his eyes in the anime, right? And he gets a new one, while the other one is looking back toward the past. So there's a whole thing with that. And at
Okay.
this point, as he's falling through the church, as he's falling down, I don't know how he survives, but every time I access
Right.
it, every time I look at it, I'm like, how did? And it was no water below in the anime. It was basically concrete in the
I'm
anime.
guessing that's the way they explain. I guess that's the way they can kind of explain. Like, oh man, well he just fell in the water. Well, either way, if you drop from that height, you're still gonna die once you hit that water.
Yeah, so basically, Spike has anime logic, anime cheats in the anime, and both in this one too. I'm like, okay. He basically landed on pure concrete in the anime, but still, it's just like he does has no emotion as he's falling in the anime, right? He basically accepts death at this point.
But here it's
And
like,
they
oh, I still want to live, kind of.
and this one he's just like, oh, I want to cling to life, help. I'm like, I'm like, and that's Julia's like about to shoot him. I'm like, she gonna shoot him. I'm just shoot him, just shoot him out the window. Because how else is this gonna happen? You have the gun. This is over
Excuse
to
me
bleed
if you
to
heard
death.
that.
I just called this like flat. I'm like, okay, either Faye's gonna save them first, and then they're gonna escape. The Tigers gonna go in, and then as they have the battle, like Julia's gonna come in and fight. I'm like, I hate.
Being calling all of this. I hated myself for calling all this. It's like, okay, Faye's gonna
Save them first. All right, okay, Julia's gonna come in
One thing I was wondering was
like
like, how did she know where they were at? Because they,
exactly. It's like
I
she
was
finds
like,
the
how did she
progress
find
and then
out? It's not like they had a tracker on them or anything.
I know, which
And they
doesn't make
never
any
explained
sense.
it.
Oh god, and Spike goes into this like strapped to the teeth with a trench coat in the anime too. There was no oh yeah, he gets captured along with Jet. No, Faye gets captured. He saves her. He basically goes ham on all the syndicate by himself. There was no Faye saving anybody. She was the one needed to be saved, and that's how he has the grade. By the way, there was no trench coat. I saw people like calling the like where's Spike's trench coat in the intro because everything in the intro pretty much came true in the show. I'm like, okay, there is no trench coat in this version. I say, okay. Oh God, it's just I want to see what they're going to do because Julius.
You're breaking up.
Oh, great.
Okay, you're fine now. You're good.
Okay, basically, like Julius' whole purpose was just for Spike to
Cling to life. But now
you have made her the main antagonist. You've kept Vicious alive, and now he's gonna get much like broken up the whole Bebop crew. Faye's out there going.
Now you're breaking up again. Yeah, kind of cutting in and out. You still with me?
Okay.
You still with me?
Now?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're good.
So, okay. Long story short, there's so much is war. I'm just like, what do you do for characters are supposed to be dead at this point? Vicious and Spike are supposed to be dead. Actually, three characters. A whole Spike storyline is supposed to be dead at this point. Julia, Spike, Vicious, all of them dead in the anime at this point. The only people alive are Ed, Ein, and they're out. It's basically the only Bebop crew is left is Faye and Jet. That's it. That's it. Jet
So,
don't have nobody
so what
in this
about?
version.
Because I know they made a movie. What about that? Can they take can they
Basically,
take from any of that?
knocking knocking on Heaven's Door, they definitely took some inspiration for that, like the whole dude on the toilet in the intro. I'm like, this is a reference to the movie. This is a definite reference to the movie. So yeah, the intro when it first started, the first episode.
But they didn't. But they didn't take like any any content from that movie outside
No,
of that.
basically, other than that, other than the dude in the bathroom while they're handling business, it's like, and Spike pretty much calls like, Jet, you said there was like five guys, and you need to know when to take a shit. Yeah, it's mm, yeah,
So
they definitely took reference from that, but the movie takes place, I think,
I think it takes place between
uh,
episode 23 and 24 or something like that. From what I read.
yeah, I think before the last two episodes actually.
Yeah, so they basically can't take anything from there. There's nothing they can pull from there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, basically.
there's no like light novels or any type of thing, any type of additional content that they can pull from. Because you
No,
because so like if there are so there so I think I probably asked this earlier. So there are villains that they skip, right? Like there's
yeah,
stuff there's
there are
storylines.
like people that they skipped over.
Yeah, so they could probably use that.
Yeah,
That's probably what they end up doing.
yeah. Unfortunately, if this gets a season two, of course. But yeah,
I mean, they
I'm
doing
more
Death Note
baffled.
too, so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I'm baffled about this whole thing's existence. Like the positives I can give it are outweighed by the negatives that I can list off, and I'm just floored about how all of this was done. Especially the whole like Spike, Vicious, and Julia plotline, and why Fearless. I actually want an answer to this. I don't care who gives me an answer to this. It's just like, why would you mess up such a great name like Spike Spiegel, man? Like, okay, let this be the name he was that Anna gave him or whatever. But yeah, she basically looked after him, but still, it's just like Fearless. Really?
and how did he get the
Like
name
really?
Spike Spiegel? Like, how did he come up with that?
We don't know. You know, born with it in the anime, and that was about it. That was we didn't question it. Not like, oh, his name was Fearless before he died.
Fearless.
What? Fearless and Vicious. Jesus, help
Like when
me.
I
Like
heard
I'm
that, I was
so
like, I never heard anyone refer to Spike as that. I'm like, oh, so maybe there's something else. Oh no, it's just something that they made up.
yeah. The Fearless stuff is something that they made up. I'm like, ugh, no, just no, just no. And then like I just like I can oh my god with the hamminess that Vicious already brought in the table, Vicious was miscast. I don't care who like
Like what?
too hammy. He was just too hammy.
Like I don't put that once again. Like you gonna feel the way you gonna feel about it, and that's fine. You know, I get where you're coming from, but
Ah,
I don't put it on the actor. I put it on the writers and the direct
script writing.
and the director. I put it more on them than the actor. I mean, they can't help what was written on the page and what and how. I mean, they're just playing it the way that the way that they're supposed to. I mean, not
Uh,
I mean not the way that it's supposed to be done as far as like the anime goes, but
yeah, I get it. I get it.
if you
Yeah,
like you
sure.
didn't like it, I could definitely get it.
It's fine. It's fine, man. We all have our opinions, and I'm just like, okay. He's just the dude was just too hammy. Like for someone for like supposed to be a cold snake, like vicious is supposed to be within the anime. And I'm just like this feels more like this is too over the top for his character, and I'm knowing what his character is supposed to be. Nah, just nah.
So one
But
thing, oh, go ahead.
no. I really don't have nothing else to add except like just like I said, morbid curiosity is getting to me, and I really want to know like what could they possibly do for a sequel? Like, would Spike actually save Vicious if he knew? Like, would he actually be able to kill Julia? Would Spike and Jet actually like you know break bread and be like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, man, but dude, I have nothing left. I literally have nothing left. My shit's on your ship still. He didn't even let him get his shit off his ship. He just left him. I'm like, you need to at least like throw his shit out first. I'm
He's just like, hey, if I see you again, I'm gonna kill you.
like, really? Like, okay, gag. But again, this is because of Spike, because he didn't like say exactly like where he came from. I think this Jet, actually, I think when the anime Jet found out, he's like, he didn't care. He didn't care. I mean, it was just on him for not telling him at all. So, and then Faye's gonna find out like where she came from, and then she's probably gonna be more miserable than she already was. But okay, whatever. And then you can also have the other villains that weren't touched on in this for season 2 if it ever happens. But I just want to know how the Spike and Vicious thing is gonna go down, especially with Julia now running the Cynic. I can't get over that. I
I feel like with
God.
her, I feel like what they did with Julia and what's her face, Faye. I feel like all of that is basically their way. It's basically the whole strong female type thing they try to go for with all with these shows.
I
It's
know.
basically
God.
like you they turn what's his name, they turn Vicious into what you call it, what's the name of it, the God,
A
I can't
punk?
even think of it. No, that's not the word I'm looking for.
A what?
The domestic abuser. Like they turned him into a domestic abuser, and then that's why they kept calling him. That's why you keep seeing characters say that he's not a man constantly. Like
Yeah.
like
I
it's
know I
so
got
it's
that.
so obvious. It's so freaking obvious. And then the fact that they have Julia, like what you telling me that Julia doesn't take over the syndicate in the anime. It's this whole female empowerment thing. That's why like I didn't like at first I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I just had to.
Yeah,
That's
strong, independent woman is you don't need no man.
that's what it is though. And even with Faye saving Spike and them at the end, like
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah, but
that's all this is. They screwed with the character just to push their own thing. I'm not trying to get all into the weeds with that, but that's pretty much
but
what
there
it
were
is.
strong female characters in Bebop though. That's what I don't get with this.
See the notion that I get, or well, I shouldn't say the notion, the impression that I get from what I've heard people say online about Faye is that she was already a strong female character, just not in the
Yes, she
way,
was.
just not in the way that they. And when I say they, I guess I can say Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have our female characters out there, using their sexuality, in a way where like she's flirting with dudes and getting in bed with them and then robbing them and that sort of stuff. We don't need that. No,
Well,
no, we don't want that.
It happens.
But yet, you take a character like Vicious and then you turn him into this abuser, and then you have people constantly telling him that he's not a man, he's not a real man. Like you're so obvious with what you're doing with the writing there. So that's that just goes back to what I said about the writing just being terrible. But yeah. Any
Yeah,
closing thoughts? So you can go ahead and wrap this up.
yeah. It is what it is, man. I'm not like, I think I got all my anger out, so I appreciate like the I appreciate us doing this. Kind of got all my anger out, just all the whys, just so this kind of helped. It is what it is. People are gonna like, maybe we're gonna have their opinions on this one. I like I said before, my negatives outweigh the positives for this.
So what's your score? If you had to score it out of
If I had
10.
to score it,
Like is it worse? Like this is a good question for you since you've seen both of these shows. Is this worse than Death Note to you, or is this better or worse?
oh God, I think I enjoyed this a little more, if I'm honest.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I
I'm
feel the
actually
same
being,
way.
I actually am being for real here. Like no BS, no hamming, no hamminess from me when I say this. Um, yeah, I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I did Death Note. Death Note, I could barely, besides the faux Ryuk, and the scream from light. Um, no, like there's way less positive for that than I did with less positive with that than for this.
Yeah, well,
So
for one thing, this they had more time with it since it was a TV series.
yeah, like I said, like Mustafa and John's like chemistry, like I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the action scenes. I enjoyed the soundtrack. I can't think of, and even some tracks like came back from the anime, and I'm like, okay, Yoko, you know, there's like some new stuff and some oldie but goodies in there within the soundtrack. I'm like, okay, Yoko's still on point with
The soundtrack and stuff like that. But and then even the set, even the set with Jeff Chip sometimes I'm like, okay, like if
I were to since I've seen the anime so much at this point, like I would be able to tell you, like, okay, they did the ship justice. They did his ship like justice in some of the locations and stuff like that. Um, yeah, honestly, I would have to give this like a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5. Which one? Which one you give me?
Out of 10, because I said 6 or 7.
It's, 6.
Okay, okay.
Now I'm being fair. I'm not trying to be a douchebag when I say that.
Now before we go, could you sent me earlier where you was saying that they were sending out they were sending out letters and and coffee mugs. Like what was? Explain to the audience just very quickly what's going on there because I haven't been.
Um, oh no, I have no idea. Like
Okay,
someone
you
sent
don't
me
know.
that. I'm just like, what is happening here? Like someone sent me this. I'm just like, no, just
Because it looks like they're just.
I think that
Oh, go ahead.
I think that I think Netflix is actually looking at Twitter posts and positive messages about Cowboy Bebop and sending them mugs and letters of appreciation and stuff like that. I don't know. If they are, it's just like, okay, that it really. Uh, none. I had nothing else.
All
It's
right.
whatever.
All right, so that about does it for us with this live action Cowboy Bebop discussion. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys thought about this series. Thank you guys for watching. We're out of here. Peace.